There's a person you used to talk to every day. You don't anymore. Not because of a fight, not because of a falling out, not because either of you decided anything. It just stopped. And you've spent more time than you'd admit trying to figure out why. Going back through old messages, replaying conversations, looking for the thing you must have missed. Here's what I want you to stay for. There was a single moment, probably completely unremarkable at the time, a moment where the ending of that friendship was already decided. You were there. You didn't notice it, and it had almost nothing to do with how much you cared about each other. I'm going to show you exactly what that moment was. To understand it, you need to know something about how friendship actually works, because most people have it completely backwards. Robin Dunbar is an evolutionary psychologist at Oxford University who has spent decades studying human social bonds. His research produced what's now called Dunbar's number, the finding that humans can maintain roughly 150 stable social relationships at once. But here's the number that matters more: your inner circle, the people you feel genuinely, deeply close to. That number is 5. 5 people, that's it. And those 5 spots aren't occupied by the people you love most. They're occupied by the people you interact with most. Not because you're shallow, not because your feelings aren't real, but because human friendship was never designed to run on feelings alone. It runs on something far more ordinary. Dunbar's research found that what holds friendships together isn't depth of feeling. It's what he calls interaction infrastructure. Shared space, shared routine, regular, unremarkable contact. Think about the friendships that have survived everything in your life. There's almost always a structural reason they made it. Same city, same job, same family circle pulling you back into the same room year after year. Now think about the friendship that quietly disappeared. When did that shared structure end? When did you move to different cities? Leave that job? Graduate? Close that chapter of your life where you were both in the same place at the same time? The friendship didn't die when the closeness faded. It died when the infrastructure disappeared. The closeness faded. Not despite the infrastructure disappearing. Because of it. Those are not the same thing. And understanding the difference changes how you see everything. But most people never get to hear this part. You told yourself a story, that you drifted apart, that people changed, that life got busy, that maybe you were never as close as you thought. Jeffrey Hall is a communications researcher at the University of Kansas. He found something that challenges all of that. Close friendships require roughly 200 hours of contact to fully form, and consistent ongoing contact to maintain. Not deep, meaningful conversations. Not vulnerable moments, just time, presence, proximity. When that proximity disappears, the friendship enters a state of suspension. Not because either person stopped caring, but because life reorganized itself. And suspension, if it goes on long enough, calcifies into something permanent. Now, that moment I mentioned at the start. There was a point, probably a Tuesday, probably nothing special. A day when enough time had passed since you'd last spoken that reaching out started to feel strange. Where a text would need a reason. Where calling would feel like an interruption. Researchers call this the reinitiation threshold. The invisible barrier that forms when enough silence has accumulated that resuming contact now costs something socially. Where you'd have to explain the gap. Where, "Hey, how are you?" starts to feel like it needs an apology attached to it. And here's the cruel part. The longer you wait, the higher the threshold rises. 1 week of silence is easy to break. 1 month is harder. 6 months feels almost impossible. A year feels like the window has closed entirely. Neither of you made a decision to end the friendship. You both just kept not making the decision to continue it. And eventually, not deciding became the decision. This is what makes this kind of loss different from every other. A breakup has a story. A falling out has a narrative. A death has grief the world recognizes. Rituals, funerals, people asking how you're holding up. But this? There's no word for it, no ritual for it. No moment you can point to and say, this is where it ended. This is where I'm allowed to feel sad. Researcher Pauline Boss at the University of Minnesota spent years studying what she called ambiguous loss. Grief that exists without a clear ending, without closure, without a clean before and after. She found it's often harder to process than loss with a clear cause, because your brain keeps going back, keeps looking for the explanation that isn't there, keeps asking, could I have done something? Is it too late? Do they even think about it? They probably do. Research on autobiographical memory consistently shows that people remember close friendships with remarkable warmth long after those friendships end. The connection doesn't vanish from memory just because it vanished from life. Somewhere there's probably a photo of you on their phone they haven't deleted. An inside joke that surfaces when something specific happens. A voice note from years ago they've never quite gotten around to removing. The friendship didn't become meaningless when it went quiet. It just became silent. There's a difference. You didn't lose that person because you weren't a good enough friend, or because they stopped caring, or because what you had wasn't real. You lost them because of something nobody warned you about. Human connection runs on infrastructure, and life keeps quietly dismantling it. No matter how deep it goes, no matter how real it was, new cities, new jobs, new seasons that don't have room for everyone who walked with you through the last one. Your brain needed proximity to keep that bond alive. Life took the proximity away, and neither of you knew how to rebuild without it. That's not failure. That's not proof that people don't really care about each other. It's just what it costs to be a person. Moving forward through time. Carrying the people you've lost without ever quite losing them. Human, after all.